Yo to the yo. What's going on, y'all? Jay Roos is in the building. It's official like a ref with a whistle. Gotta talk some heavyweight boxing, y'all. We can even talk about some of that Oscar De La Hoya stuff going on right now, where he was saying that Canelo would be easy work. Know what I mean, just a second, waiting for y'all to come on in. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Jay Roos Theory in the building. So what's going on with y'all? Hope y'all got your notifications and all that. Just thought I'd come on here talk some Martin Bacoli counter punch boxing news in the building. What's up to Kurt? Kurt in the building, man. I was watching your videos about that Oscar De La Hoya thing, man. That was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. That's a when I think about if Oscar fought Canelo in his prime, that's a tough one to pick. Oh man, mm, yeah, that's tough. I might say Canelo. I don't know. That's a tough one. But shout out to Counterpunch Boxing News in the building. Kurt, go subscribe to Counterpunch Boxing News, y'all. Always giving us the breaking news and stuff like that. I want to talk about some Martin Bacoli versus Zhang, which is in talks. I want to talk about some Fury Usyk too. Talk about what else? Of course, Joshua Dubois. There's another fight. You can even talk about some Terrence Crawford. But like I said, it's the heavyweight landscape just got interesting with Martin Bacoli's victory over Mr. Jared Anderson. You know, like I said, I should have known that Jared was going to lose just by his body language at no, it wasn't even the weigh-in. It was just like a face-off when Bacoli was staring at him, and then Jared just started dancing. I was like, that seemed kind of like nerves, like he didn't know what to do with himself. So all of a sudden, he's like, "Let me start dancing." Like, man, I think Bacoli saw through that too. It's like, man, you look a little shook. You know, if you're not scared, why are you starting to do your Michael Jackson impersonation? It just didn't really fit, you know, for a fighter to be staring at you, then he starts dancing. It's like, what's that about? But Bacoli gets the victory over Jared Anderson. I think if they have a rematch, it might be if Bacoli and Anderson rematch, it might be a little more competitive because Jared knows he can't go toe to toe anymore and he'll try to box. But I think the psychological damage that Bacoli might have put on him, I think he'll stop him again. It might take him a little longer. Bacoli will probably come in a little lighter just to make sure he doesn't gas out. Um, if it turns into a boxing match, though, you probably have to favor Anderson. If I was Jared, I would just go back and watch what Michael Hunter did to Bacoli. You know, that's what I would do. I would study that. Of course, Jared Anderson's a much bigger guy, so he'll probably get tired a lot faster than Michael Hunter did, but still, I would study that. But yeah, I think Bacoli would take the rematch though. The guy is like 2024 George Foreman almost. What am I doing? He's like a 2024 George Foreman almost, but I don't think he quite hits as hard as Foreman, but probably the closest thing we got to a Mr. George Foreman. You know what I'm saying, y'all? doing? But I'm liking this talk. I did a community post about did people want to see Martin Bacoli versus Zhang, and did pretty good. And I wonder if Mr. Turkey saw that because now they're in the talks for Bacoli versus Zhang in either Africa or China. Compton. You know what I'm saying? But I wonder. I think it would go better, of course, in probably Africa right now. But sure, Zhang would say no, it would go better in China. But I just want to see the fight, no matter if it's in China, Africa, down the street. It's just an exciting matchup because you got two big punchers, both well over 250. I think Zhang is probably slightly the harder puncher than Bacoli. Bacoli can punch, especially if you listen to all his stories about his gym wars. Bacoli can punch, but I just think that Zhang being a lefty, and Zhang's got a real good chin too. I haven't seen Bacoli take a real nice one to the chin from a big heavyweight though. So I just kind of favor Zhang, but he can't get tired. If he gets tired, then you got to go with Bacoli because we know that Zhang's gas tank isn't the best. I still think Zhang is coming in too heavy when he's around the 290, 280. I think the ideal weight for him is probably 275, but he knows better than me. It's his body. I just think you don't want to risk getting tired against another puncher, especially one like Bacoli's, who's coming off that big win over Jared Anderson. They might have to flip a coin to see where the fight's going to be, if it's going to be in China or Africa. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me where it's at. Just want to see it. And I slightly favor Zhang. And I think if Zhang does win, it'll be by a stoppage, probably TKO around round 9. We can talk even some Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. What up? Ray in the building says Zilly Zhang versus Martin Bacoli, Joseph Parker versus Caballero. Oh, that'd be a great one. Yeah, Caballero against Bacoli or Zhang would be nice too. Dillian White versus Miller. Yeah, I'd love to see that one on the same card. Would be a great in China. Yeah, that would be a good card. Caballero, people are sleeping on Caballero, man. What he just did to what's the guy, Frank Sanchez, man. Caballero is just beating these dudes. So I'd like to see Caballero against Zhang or Bacoli, and I probably favor him against both. Actually, I think I might favor Caballero in those fights. He just seems like a real tough fighter. Not that they're not tough, but I just like his body work. I like the way he goes to the body. And the thing about Caballero too, he doesn't really care what the media says. He don't care if you're the favorite or what you're ranked. He's just gonna go in there and try to implement his game plan and get you up out of there. So yeah. Yeah, that's a good lineup, Adore. I hope Prince Turkey's watching and makes that happen. But I was listening to Jake Paul the other day. Yeah, it's a big difference, I was saying. But who will win, Caballero versus? Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Caballero. Yeah, that's a tough one though. But speaking on Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, Jake was getting real disrespectful with Mike. I don't know. It seemed something about it seemed kind of fake though, like WWE. The way Jake is just all of a sudden got so much mouth. He's dissing New York. He's talking about New York is a dumb democratic state, and I'm like, New York is, a city. Like New York is a state, there, buddy. Unless he's talking about New York, New York. Do you think we'll see Terrence Crawford versus Jerron Ennis? I kind of doubt it. I think because Crawford's kind of coming to the end of his career and Ennis is kind of starting his, I don't think we'll ever see that. I'd like to see it. I just don't think we will. Be fun to see. I don't even think we're going to get Crawford Canelo, even though Prince Turkey's trying to make it happen. Seems like Canelo and the Prince are exchanging some words, so I don't even know if that'll happen. But Terrence Crawford, one of my favorite fighters in boxing. I like fighters that live like fighters, man. I love that about guys that live like fighters outside the ring. Pure Roll in the building. Y'all go subscribe to my dude Pure Roll. We were on with Andrew Tucker last week. We had a ball, man. We were talking about everything. Boxing, the streets, people not being able to take criticism in boxing. You say something against their fighter and they're ready to get violent, man. So shout out to Puro, man. Comes from the streets of California, like me. He's from South Central though. I'm from Dago, 619, all Killer Cali though. Southern California, from Diego to the Bay. My wife is from the Bay Area. But shout out to Puro, man. I like his energy. I like his energy. Adorace's Turkey Al Sheikh Boxing League is happening in 2025. Who do you think? I hope it does happen, and he's the one to make it happen. He does stuff quick. You know, when Turkey wants to make a fight happen, he's like, I want you to fight him, you fight him, here's what you're getting paid, here's the date, and it's pretty much done. No long negotiation. So I hope they do make a league, you know, kind of like the UFC. Puro says, yes, sir. Yes, indeed, man. Puro. Yeah, he knows a lot about boxing, y'all. Us dudes over the age of 40, man, we know a lot about boxing because we've been watching it for decades, man. Decades. Late 80s, early 90s. But I myself am 52, so you know I go way back like a Maybach. Don't get me dropping bars, y'all. But yeah, man, there's some good laughs when we were on with Andrew Tucker. Adore said, I would like to see a 16-man heavyweight tournament. Can we come up with even 16 heavyweights, man? And our American heavyweights out here looking slim shady lately. I talked about this on a video the other week. I don't even know if American heavyweights will ever go back to the glamour years, you know, the Mike Tysons, the Ali's, you know, the George Foreman's, Holyfield. I don't even know if we'll go back to that. I think it's too much um, luxury, too much weak-minded people. The music is making people soft. The food is making people soft. The entertainment, the lack of discipline, the microwave society where we want everything fast. So it's producing a pretty weak crop of heavyweights here in America. So if there is a 16-man heavyweight tournament, you'd be hard pressed to get one American in that tournament, unfortunately. I'd like to step in it. Like I said on my Instagram, if y'all haven't follow me on Instagram, it's Jonathan Roos 619. But like I said on my picture that I took in front of a Creed 3 poster, it said Jonathan Majors in Creed 3, Jonathan Roos in Creed 4. Adore says, I hope someone can save American heavyweight boxing. Yeah, me too, man. Like people like Jermaine Franklin, tough guy. He just doesn't really have the power to really put people in seats. Can take a great punch, but we need somebody putting people to the canvas. And right now, we ain't got it. Jared Anderson was the talk, and then Bacoli quickly dismantled that. So it is what it is. But it's just a trip to see a changing of the guard. And speaking of changing of the guard, will we see a changing of the guard in September when AJ Anthony Joshua takes on Triple D Daniel Dubois? Will there be a changing of the guard? Will Dubois go in there and handle business, or will he get his head flown? I think Dubois is going to get his head flown. He's too easy to hit. He's too predictable. Now, unless Don Charles can somehow go in there and correct that defense, I don't see how he's going to pull it off. I think it's going to resemble Joshua and Ngannou, but maybe not as fast. I think it will probably be more than 2 rounds, probably five tops. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as hard of a fight. Most experts, even people that sparred with both, are picking AJ, but they're like, don't sleep on Daniel. And one guy at cruiserweight, I forget his name, said he was sparring with Dubois, and he hit Dubois a little harder than he meant to, and he said Dubois got a look in his eye and he got scared. And he was saying that even when Dubois taps you to the body, like just barely hits you, you feel it. So, you know, that's a big fight, man. I'm really looking forward to that. Uh, Adore says Tim Witherspoon would be a very good boxing trainer for Daniel. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all for if Tim Witherspoon could somehow work alongside Don Charles. A lot of trainers don't like to bring in another guy. They don't want too many chiefs. They don't want too many chiefs. Wait, hold on, y'all. Try that. Wow. They don't want too many chiefs, but yeah, it would be a nice addition. But I don't know, man. I don't know. You mean John Hedges, who spars Anthony Joshua and Daniel? I think that was his name, John Hedges. Yeah, you must have saw the interview. Shout out to Bon Scott in Scotland. He says, "Hey, folks, shout out to you, Bon. Thanks for coming through." And yeah, it is John Hedges though. Yeah, you must have seen that interview. Yeah, Bon, we're just talking some boxing. I don't know if you caught that Oscar De La Hoya thing he was talking about. Canelo plus Oscar was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. I didn't really see that yet, but it's obvious Oscar and Canelo got their little feud going. Oscar said something to the effect that Canelo would be easy work and he would tap that. You know what I'm saying? Is Oscar a little butthurt? Yeah, they definitely got their little feud going, man. If they ever saw each other in a dark alley at night, I'm sure it would go down. And Oscar in his prime versus Canelo in his prime is a tough fight to pick. Probably edging slightly towards Canelo. Oscar's from my era, but I think Canelo is. I don't know, man. It's a tough fight. It could go either way. Could go either way, but Oscar's been doing some strange stuff lately, so I don't know what's up. Like dancing in thongs out here. I don't. Come on, Oscar. What's up with that, homie? You can't represent my era wearing a thong, G. Nah, that's not where it's at. A dude in a thong, man. Come on. Can destroy your legacy when one bad Instagram post. Oscar. Yeah, but shout out to Kurt who came through earlier from Counterpunch Boxing News. He was showing footage of Ike Beabucci sparring this lighter guy, and Ike hurt the guy. I think put him down. The camera work, whoever filmed the sparring session, wasn't that good because I think the guy got knocked down twice, but you couldn't really see what happened because it's like the camera just stayed like right here instead of panning over. So it looks like Ike is staying in shape. The guy who was fighting was a lot smaller, but Ike is still showing he can punch. Yeah, Ike Beabuchi making a comeback to boxing. Yeah, man, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Defying all the naysayers that think once you have another birthday that you should just hang it up and go buy a walker. I disagree with that for many reasons. Do I look like I need a walker? I'm the same age as Ike. No walker. Put these hands on you real fast. But yeah, if I can come out, build his record back up, and then step in there with some of the G's in the division, it would get real interesting. Ike always was what was he, around 6'2", 245. Yeah, that would be interesting. A lot of these heavyweights are super tall now, but then they usually lose to guys that are around 6'2". When Lennox Lewis lost his two fights, I always say it's to guys 6'2". Oliver McCall and Hasim Rockman. When AJ lost to Ruiz, Ruiz is listed at 6'2". So something about that 6'2", man. I think their overhand rights just perfect for someone that's 6'5". But you know, I just it's just a good time for boxing, man, because Prince Turkey is making these fights happen, and he's not playing around. He's not having these long, drawn out discussions. He's just making them happen. Ike Beabuchi versus Derek Chisora would be nice, man. It would be nice. Right now, you kind of have to go with Chisora just because of the activity. But if Ike Beabuchi gets enough fights under him, I probably go with Ike. Bon Scott said, "Did you get a look at Richard Torres Jr.? Looks like a yeah. I've done videos on Richard Torres. He's actually from a part of California that I've been many times. I have relatives in Tulare, California. It's kind of a farming part of California. It's nothing like the rest of California, but that's where he's from. So yeah, I think Richard Torres looks great. Fast hands and you know, he should want revenge against that Jalalalov guy from the Olympics because he got knocked out by him. So maybe he can get a rematch with him in the pros. But yeah, I like Richard Torres. I'm gonna try to see if I can get him on the show. You know, since we're both from California, man. But I've been to Tulare, California a lot. I follow Richard Torres on Instagram too. He makes a lot of funny posts, by the way. I would like to see Richard Torres get on one of these cards in Saudi Arabia. You know, maybe he can fight someone like Vlad Sarenko. That would be nice. You know, them farming stock are strong as heck. Yeah, man. Tulare's like full of fields, man. That area, Pixley, California. Yeah, it's just miles of field. So yeah, the thing I like about Richard Torres, he's kind of a throwback to the heavyweights of yesteryear. You know, he's not a real big guy, but he's super fast. He's around 6'2". So real fast hands, real crisp power. Seems to take a good punch. So I forget about him when I'm saying we have no American heavyweights. He's the one that I'm kind of eyeing. Even when everybody was talking about Jared Anderson, I had my eyes on Richard Torres. So I don't know how I forgot about him. Richard Torres, man. Sorry, man, for forgetting you when I talked about no prospects from America. Richard Torres is a definite prospect. Do you remember heavyweight Arslan Yali? Sounds familiar. I probably know him if I've seen him. The first name definitely sounds familiar. Because Americans aren't dominating in the heavyweight division now, it's like you gotta really sound out these names, man. Some of these names are so hard to pronounce because it's a lot of consonants and no vowels. I understand Lennox Lewis was saying if Mike Tyson beats Jake Paul, he'd like a shot at Mike Tyson. I don't know. I was saying Mike Tyson's going to knock out Jake Paul, but something about it just seems off at these press conferences. Uh, Even the push Mike Tyson gives Jake, it's like he pushed Jake, but then he went back. And then Mike just seems too playful. He's laughing all the time. I'm like, I don't, is this legit? If it's legit, I got Mike. But if it's staged, we all know who that's going to. Arslan Yalyev is a very good heavyweight prospect from Russia. From Russia. Nah, I don't. Maybe I've seen him. I'm not sure. I forget the guy's name. Roman something. Who's the guy that stopped Deontay Wilder in the amateurs? The Russian guy. I think he was like 6 feet. Knocked down Wilder. I'd like to see that fight in Saudi Arabia if Deontay's going to continue fighting. Why don't Deontay try to get some get back on the guy that roughed him up in the amateurs, And then that guy can see if he still got it. Hold on, y'all. Little H2O break. Rehydrate, my mind state. Now I'll get up like the crime rate. Bars. Trying to get into Christian rap, y'all. I got bars. Been writing since I was like 10 years old. Favorite Christian rapper, Brian T, and then probably Bizzle. Bizzle got some deep lyrics, and Brian T just brings that street energy. Shout out to Brian Trejo, Brian T, Antoine Hill, Kingdom Music. You mean Evgeny? Yeah, Romanov. That's it, man. Way to come through, Adore. Yeah, that's who I mean. That's the dude who beat up Deontay in the amateurs. Somebody needs to make that fight happen in Saudi Arabia because Deontay should want some payback, like I said, and Romanov should want to prove that he can still do damage to Deontay and show that wasn't a fluke in the amateurs, Way to come through with that name, man. I did a video about him, but it was a couple years back, so I couldn't remember the name. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can get a 50 Cent Oscar De La Hoya fight. I see they're going at it now. I think Oscar said some things about 50 Cent on Club Shay Shay, and 50's the king of trolling, so 50 ain't gonna let that slide. Looks like young Moses may have the heavyweight scene wrapped up for the future. Yeah, Moses is a tough guy from what I hear. Everybody that sparred with him says, I forget the guy I was watching. It was Jerry Forrest. He was saying that, I think it was him. He was saying that Moses punches hard. Maybe it wasn't him. I don't remember. But anyway, it was some heavyweight saying it wasn't so much Moses' punching power, but it said his hands are super fast. So that can sometimes equate to power if you're real fast. It's like you don't see it coming, so it feels extra hard. So if he can take a punch, yeah. I haven't seen him test it on the chin, but if he can take a punch, yeah, it'll be nice to see him. Romanov loses his last fight to Zhang from China. What is that? Are you talking about in the amateurs? If so, I'm gonna have to pull that up. Of course, I don't know if you guys seen the Olympic fight between Anthony Joshua and Zhang. Joshua actually knocked Zhang down. Bon Scott says his power is strange. He seems to tap people and they are gone, a bit like Dmitry Pirog. Who are you talking about, Bon? I'm forgetting who you're referring to when you say his power is strange. Moses. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I noticed that too when I fight him. When I said when I fought him. I mean, I noticed that too when I saw him. Sometimes it seems like he's not even really, I mean, pro. Yeah. I mean, it seems like I know what you're talking about, man. But it seems like sometimes his punches aren't that devastating and the people are out. So I don't know. He seems the thing I like about young Moses is he seems very focused. He seems like he's really determined to be a great fighter. He doesn't seem like the type to go out and race cars and party on the weekend. You have to have a balance, man. You gotta know when you train all week and then on the weekend you don't do nothing crazy. You don't sniff coke, you don't drink, you don't smoke. You live the life like a fighter. You just recuperate, hang with your family, watch something that's beneficial, but you don't go ham on the weekends and then try to be disciplined Monday through Friday. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Heavyweights are too big nowadays to sit there and waste your career by doing dumb stuff. Y'all make sure you hit that thumbs up, by the way. And if y'all wish to donate to the platform, the Cash App is $J Roos 33. Thank you in advance. Vaughn Scott says a good example of dedication is Bacoli. His trainer says he stays in his room, goes training, then back to his room. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I love that about fighters that can just train, stay focused, train, stay focused. They usually have great careers. Not too many fighters in America can do that. I think Richard Torres is one of them, though. He seems to be dedicated and focused. We got Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. Says, salute, fam. Salute out to Bruce Gas. Go subscribe to Bruce Gas, y'all. And if y'all eating chili, I'm sure you got gas, too. You know what I'm saying? I just ate some rice and beans, by the way. Bruce Gas, what a great platform he's got. He's got interviews with Razor Ruddock, Tim Witherspoon. Man, he's had a whole stable of fighters on his show. Guys that really know the sport too, and Bruce knows the sport. Last Bond says last thing on Bacoli, it seems like Hearn and Warren don't like him for some reason. Probably won't get his chance. That'd be a shame, but now because Prince Turkey's running things, they may not have a choice because like Turkey's making these fights happen that he wants to see. So when he pulls out that checkbook, I have a feeling they'll find a way to make things happen. Like they say, money talks. So Prince Turkey's putting his money where his mouth is. So if the Prince wants to see the fight, I don't think Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren have the power right now to stop it. Moses Atomo versus Derek Chisora next would be great. Yeah, I'd like to see that. That'd be a good test for Moses. That'd be a good test. I kind of favor Moses, but can never count Derek Chisora out, can we? Bruce Guest says Bacoli got some skeletons in the closet. Oh no, no, Bacoli, please, please, man. We need you to live a clean life, man. We want to see you do good with your career. No shady stuff. You gotta ignore all the groupies and the chicks trying to knock on your hotel door. That's definitely not gonna help you. Get you a wife if you don't have one and chill out. That's a rumor spread by Dillian White. If it was true, he'd be arrested. Dillian White back at it, man. Dillian has said some crazy stuff, man. Dillian, man. I think Bacoli said, didn't Bacoli say that Dillian was scared to fight him? Adore says, I want to see Zilly Zhang versus Martin Bacoli next. Yeah, it's in the talks right now. Prince Turkey wants that fight to happen. I think it'll happen. They say either in Africa or China and Africa. Like I said, I'll watch that fight if it's up the street at a Taco Bell. I'll watch that. That fight is not going the distance, y'all. I think Zhang is slightly stronger, and he's a southpaw, but Bacoli can punch. So we're gonna see who's got the better chin. I hear they're going at it on social media too, talking about making each other cry and saying they'll stop one another. So yeah, I'd like to see that. Go to my community tab and check out. I asked if people want to see that fight a couple weeks ago, Zhang and Bacoli. Looks like the rumors Bacoli was talking about were true about stopping these guys and sparring, man. Looks like there's some credibility to what he was saying. Bacoli's a big guy, man. Just his presence in the ring seemed like it was messing with Jared Anderson. Like just having a big guy walk you down is like zaps your energy. That's why you gotta be prepared for it. Definitely got to make sure your cardio's on point when you fight guys like Zhang and Bacoli. Now they may get tired, but you don't want to get tired against them. You do not want to get tired against a Bacoli or a Zhang, or your chin is in some serious trouble. Bon Scott says nobody is denying the sparring stories, but me personally, what happens in sparring should stay there. Yeah, it seemed like that rule is long gone now. Dudes putting out footage and talking about it, and remember the footage of Tank Davis beating up Devin Haney. So yeah, like these are some strange times, I guess, because cameras are everywhere now. People can't help themselves. Cameras on your phone, cameras in houses, on the street. So, and this stuff just somehow gets leaked to YouTube, huh, or Instagram. And once it's out there, you can't unsee it. Um, I'm hearing Daniel Dubois didn't really rough up AJ in sparring either. Kind of sound like it was the other way around. And Martin Bacoli was talking about him and AJ being locked in a room and sparring. Sound like it was a tough fight because Bacoli didn't sound like he was bragging that he roughed AJ up. So y'all better stop sleeping on AJ's chin. Like I said, on Anthony Joshua's worst night, he ended on his feet. A lot of heavyweights can't say that. Lift off for AJ. Yeah, guess that was a little too high pitch. Justice Hunai versus Linear Pero would be a very good heavyweight fight. I have never heard of either of these guys, but I'm going to take your word for it. I see you have their flags up too. Yeah, I'm going to have to check these guys out. When the video goes off, leave those names in the comment section so I don't forget their names. I want to look these guys up. AJ has a great chin, seems to me. He was suffering some mental health problems. Hopefully, he's back to his best. Yeah, I think you're right, man, about the mental health thing. I'm glad you said that because I just saw a documentary about, I think it was during the fight where he was fighting Otto Wylene and he was taking an ice bath and a fighter came in and AJ was saying that sometimes after a fight he feels like he's about to check out, if you know what I'm saying, like check out for good. And he was being lighthearted and laughing, but I was like, wow, because he's saying like your adrenaline's pumping and all your nerves and everything's firing at the same time. So he's like, he felt like he's gonna check out a couple times. And I've heard stories of Ali and Frazier, how that fight was so brutal that neither neither of those guys probably should have made it out of that ring. So I mean, think about it. I think Holyfield lost like 15 pounds when he fought Dwight Muhammad Qawi in that cruiserweight fight. He was sweating so much he lost like 15 pounds, and he said he didn't even want to fight anymore after that fight. It was so brutal. But of course, we know he still did. But people don't understand. That's what when people come on here talking bad about these guys. It might look easy sitting in your chair watching these guys fight, but boxing is a very, very tough sport. I think it's probably tougher than mixed martial arts because you're just taking punches to the head and the body. Mixed martial arts is spread throughout the body, so you kind of absorb it better. And you see, there hasn't been as many fatalities in MMA. Um, Also, it's not as old as boxing, so that's another thing to take into consideration. But boxing is brutal. The training's brutal. There's no off season, and you got to know your stuff. Mike Tyson was even saying boxing is the one sport where if you don't know what you're doing, a big dude could lose to a skinny guy just because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to defend yourself. You don't know how to punch. You don't know where how to put your feet, how to shift your weight, your punch placement. All that stuff comes into consideration, man. Jai Obatai at heavyweight. Do you think he will do good? Yeah, I think he could do good, especially seeing what Usyk has done. So yeah, I think he could do pretty good. It all comes down to how well you can take a punch, though, when you're coming up from these smaller divisions. You might be able to dish it, but you got to be able to take it, and that's the thing. See, that's why Holyfield is one of the greats because, and his punching power is underrated, Evander Holyfield, but he could take these punches, man. Go back and watch the first fight he had with Riddick Bowe. He got knocked down and got right up and almost had Bowe out of there. Guy that was way bigger than him. All three of those fights were fun to watch, man. If you guys haven't seen Riddick Bowe and Holyfield, go check those out. Shout out to Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. Follow them both on IG. Holyfield's number one, David Hay two. Yeah, man, you got to go with Holyfield there. Yeah, that would have been an interesting fight. Overtime versus Moses Atama would be a very good boxing match. Ooh, yeah, it would be. It would be. Yeah. The more Moses' career goes on, though, I think he's going to start to fill out to even a bigger guy. So I don't know. Once he puts on that little extra weight, man, he's going to be really a problem. Did you see David A. sparring Wilder? That was, yeah, I saw that a couple times, man. I haven't seen it recently, but I definitely saw it. Yeah. David A. had some good things to say about Wilder. I even saw the footage of Hergovich and Wilder sparring when Hergovich was real young. Speaking of Wilder, I hear he's in Atlanta recently, and I don't know if he's looking for a new trainer, but if I were you, Wilder, I would look into getting a new trainer. And George Foreman used to say, you don't have to fire your current trainer, just bring someone else in. But I haven't seen anything great come from Malik Scott. And Deontay always looks like a world beater in the gym. He just don't do that same work in the ring as of late, or never. He never seems to do the pad work that he does. He never seems to copy that and take it into the ring. Malik has to be able to get him to do what he does in the gym and move that to the ring when the lights are on. Moses 19, wait till he gets his man body exactly in strength. Imagine how good he is to have been sparring the likes of Fury and AJ when he was 15. Yeah, man, he's got a lot of good names under him. I was saying he didn't really look intimidating, but I think, because he seems so serious that he's starting to look intimidating. And like he said, when he grows into his man body, he's going to be even more ferocious. So I'm interested in watching his career. Yeah, plus I like his temperament in his interviews. He seems to be like a no nonsense type of guy. Oh, that'd be a good fight. Uh, I might have to say Jalalov, however you say that, might win that actually. just from the reach. But it could possibly go either way. Does anybody in the chat have Daniel Dubois upsetting Anthony Joshua? I'd be interested in hearing that and why. I don't think they should push the kid too fast, but he wants Tyson's record of youngest heavyweight. Yeah, I think they might want to chill on trying to pass that record and just take him at a nice pace because you don't want to get him focused on the wrong thing and then he gets knocked out and then nobody wants to see him fight. So yeah, they need to probably chill on that. Sounds good on paper, but it's not really that important. I mean, they got two different styles too. May the best man win. AJ versus Dubois. Yeah, man. That's gonna be I look forward to that, man. And since they got into that little altercation at that face off, the next press conference should be pretty hyped up, and then the weigh-in should be pretty hyped up too. But I think Ben Davison and AJ are just like calm assassins, and Dubois might be a little too amped up. Even he said he needed to control his emotions, and I thought, man, don't say that because Ben Davison and AJ now are going to really try to get into your head and make you waste energy on nonsense. Then by the time you get into the first round, you're going to be exhausted just off mental fatigue. Bon Scott says, I got Dubois. Oh, okay. But only because, as I said before, I like an underdog. But realistically, AJ in 7 or 8, providing he doesn't get tapped by Dubois. Wow. So, because you have Dubois, do you think he will possibly stop AJ or maybe go the distance? And what punch from Dubois do you think AJ better watch out for? I think Dubois better watch out for the overhand right and the uppercut, and AJ probably has to watch out for a hook. Although I like AJ's left hook too. But this is a great fight. Both guys. What's so great about the Anthony Joshua Daniel Dubois fight is both of these guys are looking spectacular in their last couple fights. We're getting them in their prime. We're not getting them, years down the road like Pacquiao and Mayweather when it was like, So we're getting these guys at their best. So we might even get another fight depending on how this one goes. If it's a blowout, nah. But if it's competitive, then we'll probably get a second and third fight. We'll see. Bon Scott says if he wins, it will be by stoppage, but I don't think he will crack AJ's defense. Too wise, too experienced, and can punch as hard, if not harder. Yeah, man. That's a great way to put it. Yes, next month, man. We'll see. Quan Big Guns is touchdown in the building, y'all. He says, "What's up, my brothers? What's up to you, Quan? What's up to you, man?" Adore says Philip Hergovich, Jared Anderson will become heavyweight champion of the world. Mark my words. Well, didn't Philip say he was going to retire if he didn't beat Daniel Dubois? I mean, I didn't believe him when he said it, but I don't know about that one. I don't think either of them dudes will become champion, especially not Jared Anderson. I don't know if his mind is where it should be. And I don't know about Hergovich either, man. I'm not sold. I think Anderson would KO Hergovich. I kind of think he might too. If he can take the pressure from Hergovich, Hergovich has a pretty good chin. We got to see where Anderson is after this loss to Bacoli because that was kind of brutal. So we got to see if he's strong-minded enough to come back from that. Some guys can't come back from a defeat, especially a knockout. You know what I mean? No chance that that fight is going to points. Realistically, AJ is going to make Dubois question his life choices, but he can just check his bank account and know it was worth the pain. Great comment, man. Question his life choices. Yeah, I remember my first time sparring and I got hit pretty good, and I was thinking, did I pick the right sport? Adore says Frank Sanchez will be heavyweight champion of the world too. Mark my words. I thought so at one point, but the way Caballero just went in there and cleaned his clock, I don't know anymore. Some people were saying he was injured before. I don't know. I always say that's the up to the fighter's discretion. He should know if he's ready to fight or not. And he chose to fight, and he got his head handed to him. So I don't know, man. We will see. I think Frank Sanchez would become champion before Hergovich and Anderson, though. Caballero reminds me of Parker. I'd like to see Caballero versus Parker. I like Caballero's body attack, like I was saying earlier. Quan says, I agree. Anderson doesn't look world level, but he beats guys like Wallin. Yeah, exactly. And just the fact he had that breakdown with Roy Jones a while back, where he seems like his head's not in it. He seems to strictly be in it for the money. Those kind of things don't make you want to keep fighting when you're hurt. Although he kept getting off the canvas with Bacoli, but can he keep doing it? When you get down, when you're fatigued, what's going to get you up off the mat? A check? That's not going to work because you get paid regardless. By the way, why do people say irregardless? There's no such word. It's regardless, not irregardless. I think they're thinking of the word irregular. It's regardless, not irregardless. But yeah, Anderson has to figure out what he wants to do because thinking of your checks not gonna make you want to keep fighting when you're hurt because you get paid win, lose, or draw. Bond Scott says Anderson got a great chin, just too young and inexperienced, probably managed badly like Tank. Speaking of Tank, man, what he did in his last fight was pretty nice. Tank has the power of a heavyweight, hence the name Tank, I guess. Like a small Mike Tyson. And people don't know Tank can box. He don't really get credit for it, but I've seen him do some great boxing, man. You know, he can do what Shakur Stevenson can do, except he can knock you out. Shakur's not. Shakur Stevenson ain't really knocking nobody out like that, unfortunately. With a name like Shakur, man, you draw a lot of attention to you. Do you think Tank should have done more in his career so far? I think he's been held back, to be honest. Yeah, he's been held back a little bit. Yeah, he's gonna have to start fighting some of these some tougher guys. It was great to see him and Ryan Garcia, but he's got to get more big names like that under his belt. Seeing Mark Mudov getting KO'd again easily by a guy who lost to a Jag, but we need Caballero to fight someone proven. So he lost that last fight? Wow. I know I was on Andrew Tucker World when that fight was going on, but I had some technical difficulties and lost the stream, so I didn't I didn't find out what happened. So he got stopped again, huh? Wow. So yeah, that does kind of take away from Caballero's victory, unless he's the one that softened him up for this next guy. I think he won a fight after that Caballero fight, though. I think he won a fight after that. He said the man should be a superstar. Yeah. Makhmudov has some hematoma on his face. Oh no. Did it look like Hasim Rockman's when he got that headbutt from Holyfield? Remember that? Looked like he was growing a whole body out of his forehead. That was the most nasty bruise I ever seen in the history of pugilism. Have a look online. His eye looks horrendous. Ooh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, it's amazing how quick he seemed to fall off. He was the talk of the town. Everybody was talking about how scary he looked. And Caballero was like, man, please. He says like a football. Oh shoot! Wow. Quan says, check it out, Jay Roosh. You will laugh. Magmudov's eye was completely swollen and shut. Caballero did him body, but this time he got stopped to the head. Oh wow! So I'm guessing that eye had a part to play in it, huh? Hope it wasn't from a headbutt. Usually, when you get bruised up like that, some heads clashed. I would like to see Jarrell Miller versus Dillian White. Yeah, what's next for Dillian, man? He hasn't had a fight since who's that? Christian Hammer? I think that's who he fought. Dillian got to get off these interviews and get in the ring at some point. But Jarrell might be a little much for Dillian right now because Jarrell is staying active and Dillian not so much. The battle of the PEDs. Who wins in a clean fight? Jarrell Big Baby Miller or Dillian White? I still wouldn't mind seeing Jarrell Miller versus Big Baby Anderson. You know, they were going at it at the last press conference. I want to see Jamel Miller rematch Dubois in shape. He looked good versus Ruiz and should have won. Yeah, it kind of looked like Miller did beat Ruiz. I think Ruiz broke his hand though in that fight. It's probably from staying inactive. His bones ain't even ready to smash somebody's face. Worst injury I've seen since Badu Jack. Oh man. Wow, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. TS Boxing in the building. Go subscribe to TS Boxing, man. Thanks for coming through. He said Turkey seems to have given up on Wilder in a recent interview. I don't blame him. Yeah, I'm unless Wilder can bring in a trainer that can actually make him respond to what he's saying. Yeah. I don't know. Wilder too though, as much as I think he should get rid of Malik Scott, Wilder seems to be one of those guys that doesn't really listen to his corner. I think he just goes out there and basically waits for the right hand, and that's basically it. Wilder needs to get rid of the ayahuasca. Yeah, definitely. I knew when he was smoking that, I was like, he's done. I knew from the first or second round against Zhang, when Zhang had him in the corner and was hitting him to the body, I was like, I just said he's done. I could tell the way he was moving and responding. His little waist was not going to hold up to the power punches of Zhang. I knew he was going to get stopped. I predicted it, and I could tell early on. I was like, "There's no way he's making it to the 12th round." But he definitely needs to stop smoking. Needs to stop the rap career or whatever kind of music he's doing. Charlene in the building. She says, "Hey, sorry, late to the party." Yeah, that kind of rhymed. Charlene in the building. What's up to you? Yeah, we're just talking some. Oh, I don't know how I'm forgetting to talk about the Frazier Clark Wardley rematch. That's being talked about too, and that was a great epic fight, man. I think wasn't it a draw, but I think I had Wardley winning, but both guys had each other in some shaky moments, man. But there was a point where I thought Clark was not going to make it to the final bell, but man, that rematch will be huge. Wardley and Clark. I knew there was a fight I wanted to talk about. I think I got Wardley in the rematch. He's one of them guys that can take a punch and he can dish it. Them guys are always dangerous when you can take it and deliver it. And he's got some nice speed on him. As David Adelaide. Adelaide picked himself to beat Wardley in a rematch. Man, stop. Quan Big Gun says, I think Wilder needs some comeback fights like Washington or Konowski, then Wallin. After that, I'll wait. I want to see Wilder fight a top guy. Yeah, I don't even know if he could. Washington had almost beat Wilder way back when Wilder was at his best. So I don't even know if he can get past them guys at this point. Not with his current trainer, but like I said, He might be one of them guys. If he had Emmanuel Stewart in his corner, he wouldn't listen. He kind of strikes me as that type of guy that he just don't respond to his coaches or trainers. They're talking about Moses versus Wardley or Clark. I think they should leave these guys to have their titles. Don't let Moses spoil their careers. Yeah, I think they should just let Wardley and Clark get that rematch. They need to run that back. Yeah, Moses can wait. Deontay Wilder trained with Najee Lopez. Is this recent or way back? TS Boxing says Aquan Big Guns. Wilder can't beat a top guy. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I can't think of any top guys that Wilder can beat. I don't even know if Wilder can beat some of these up and coming guys. I think a guy like Richard Torres would cause Wilder all kind of problems because of the height, because he's shorter, the hand speed. I could get up underneath Wilder and throw them combos. Yeah, I don't know. Wilder's just looked terrible his last couple of fights. He can't seem to even pull the trigger no more. It's like he's just cocking that hand, but he's not doing nothing with it. And if he does throw it, guys seem to be reacting like, "Oh, that's a hype job." If Wardley sharpens up, he'll be good. They're rematching October 12th. Also, they have a date already? Wow. So we got September and October coming up. Shout out to UTS Boxing. I did not know that. Appreciate that. Breaking news, y'all. I watched Wardley versus Clark too. It was a good fight. Wardley's nose was opened up, but he was still swinging bombs. Yeah, that was a throwback bloody fight, wasn't it? It was bloody and messy, man. One of those real gritty fights where you have to bite down on your mouthpiece, or as y'all say in the UK, bite down on your gum shield. Isn't it? Isn't it? TS Boxing, Ortiz, that was it. Wow. UJ Roos, they confirmed Wardley versus Clark a couple days ago. Wow, I did not know that. That's must see TV right there. You do not want to miss that rematch. I'm going to try to reach back out to Dustin Nichols and, oh, okay. That's what's up. That first Wardley Clark fight was so rough, man. Somebody's probably gonna get stopped in the rematch because sometimes psychologically, when you know you had a tough first fight, when you have a rematch, you're thinking one of the guys gonna be thinking after they get a couple hard shots, like, do I really feel like taking this for another like however many rounds are left? Like, is it really that serious? It is that serious, but one of the two guys is gonna feel like I don't feel like taking this for another couple rounds, man. It's too brutal. So I think someone might get stopped in the rematch, and I think Clark will be the one to get stopped. Wardley had Ben Davidson too. Yeah, he did. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about the Ben Davidson factor. I think he's one of my favorite trainers out there right now. I called him and AJ Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Moses Atuma versus Joe Joyce is in talks next. Ooh, I would like to see that. If Joe Joyce gets stopped here, I think it's it for Joyce, man. He's not looking good his last couple fights. I think he's coming in too heavy. I know he's a natural big guy, but he's already not the fastest guy in the world, and he's too easy to hit. And being easy to hit against a fast guy is not good news for Joyce, man. I got Moses by stoppage, and I think Joyce might want to just call it a day. I don't like to tell dudes when to retire, but I just don't want to see him get permanently damaged. Terry Harrell, shout out to you, man. Thanks for coming through. He says the older fighters are skilled and the younger fighters have speed and stamina. Wilder got smoked out for real. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's like Wilder's in trouble. It's a six of one and half a dozen of the other. So yeah, it's like whoever Wilder faces, he just looks he's he's regressed, man. He's just gotten worse and worse under Malik Scott. Isn't his only win with Malik Robert Helenius? And wow, that was like 2 years or 2+ years ago. Ortiz would be in trouble in that fight, man. Luis Ortiz is on his last leg. I like the guy, but yeah. Too many old men. Caballero, Hergovich, and Sanchez are all 32, with the Cuban probably 21 in Cuban years. Yeah, man. I don't know what was up with Sanchez in that last fight against Caballero. I picked Caballero to win that too, though. Deontay Wilder needs to get rid of Malik Scott. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess it's hard for him to do it because they're, good friends, but friends should have nothing to do with business. This is business. I don't understand why they're fast tracking Moses so fast. He's a 19-year-old kid. Yeah, they need to chill with trying to top Mike Tyson's record, like I was saying earlier. You don't want to rush him into something and then he gets stopped and then no one's even talking about him anymore. So just take him at a nice pace and let him work things through. Just because he sparred with all the guys like AJ and stuff, don't mean he's gonna do as great under the lights. Well, I don't know if he did great in the gym against them guys, but under the lights is a little different. No headgear, smaller gloves, crowd, music, atmosphere, it's all different. Tia's Boxing says Hellenius took a dive, laugh out loud. That's what I said. How do you fall from a get off me punch? The telltale signs for the Parker fight were in the Hellenius fight, scared and prancing around the ring. I've always said that Hellenius Wilder fight was it wasn't legit, and people thought it was. I agree. I think Hellenius took a dive. I've always said that. Yeah, you too, Malik. At Quan Big Guns, I don't see that he openly real name so far is his only real name so far is what? Oh, okay. Quan says, "Who do you think Wilder could beat?" He could beat some eggs in a skillet. That's about it right now. Who could Wilder beat? Maybe, maybe a Dillian White. I don't know. I used to pick him big against White. Now I don't know. He's just looked so bad, man. He looked terrible in the Parker fight. He looked even worse against Zhang. And you know what's so bad about his performance against Zhang? He was talking about he's re-energized and rededicated, refocused, cut his dreads off, and then he goes out there and gets his head handed to him. He says Bon Scott says Wilder couldn't beat sleep or hit water if he fell out of boat. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. You fall out of a boat and you hit dry land. Tia's Boxing says that Quan Big Guns, Dustin Nichols, and a fair one. Laugh out loud. Man, I don't even know if Wilder could beat Jake Paul right now, man. Since Jake Paul is like 230, Jake might put it on Deontay. Can you imagine that? If Jake Paul knocked out Deontay, man, I know it's a wrap. And Jake Paul's talking about he still wants to get some belts and fight Canelo. No, Jake, you do not want Canelo. Believe me on that one. You do not want Canelo. It looks kind of easy beating up all these UFC guys. What's up with these UFC guys losing to Jake Paul, man? Mike Perry. I mean, these dudes have no boxing skill whatsoever. Is that what it is? Quan says, "This is sad, man. No one believes in Wilder no more. He used to be the guy." Yeah, he just got too easy to figure out. It's just that, and I used to say all you got to do is crowd his space, and he doesn't have no room to throw that right hand. And Joseph Parker and Tyson Fury, especially Parker, kind of laid out the blueprint how to beat Wilder, especially this new Wilder. It's like we got a new AJ that's better, and we got a new Wilder that's terrible. Do you think MMA will be extinct? No, I think it's here to stay. They got a big following, big following. I don't find MMA that exciting unless it's two guys that box. Terry Harrell said his statue 100%. You talking about the bronze bomber, that statue they gave him in Alabama? I tell you, man. Stuff like that can make a fighter lose his hunger. He starts to feel like he's already retired and he's getting, accolades from the public. What's his motivation to get out of bed and do his strength and conditioning and road work and sparring? He's like, man, I already got a statue, man. Let's go to IHOP. 2 fights. He looked terrible in his last 2 fights. Francis needs to put a stop to Jake Paul. Yeah, and Ngannou might be able to beat Jake Paul, man. Man, if Jake Paul beat Francis, wow, I think it'd be it for him. Quan says, what happened to Nathan Adelaide? I like that guy. You mean David Adelaide? I don't know who Nathan Adelaide is. You're talking about David Adelaide. He got stopped by Wardley. Oh yeah, David Adelaide. Yeah, he got beat pretty bad by Wardley. He was sticking out his tongue, and he's talking about he would beat Wardley in the rematch. No, he wouldn't. He got beat too easily by Wardley. It was actually a one-sided fight. I want to see him in more fights. He lost. He should go back to the gym. Yeah, he had a fight scheduled. I forget with who, but then I don't know what happened. It didn't come to fruition. Shout out to Lennox Roos out there, my son. Shout out to you. We're probably gonna go live or do a video about the LA Chargers and their upcoming season. With got Justin Herbert back. We got Jerry Rice's son, Brandon Rice. Khalil Mack is back. Return of the Mack. Oh, come on. Return of the Mack. Who don't like that song, man? Wilder started losing when he couldn't pick his opponents anymore. Yeah, I guess if you can't pick your opponents, that's a good point. When you let other people pick your opponents, it's a whole different ballgame. Yeah. Terry Harrell. Very true. Quan Big Gun says, I like Wardley, but I don't see him beating a Dubois yet. That would, wow. I hadn't even thought of that fight. That would actually be an entertaining fight. I think Wardley's speed would give Dubois some trouble, man. I don't know. I might have Wardley in that. I think I might have Wardley in that. I just don't like Dubois' wide hands. He keeps his hands like this instead of, tighter. He's got to tuck them elbows and stuff. I don't know why Don Charles hasn't corrected that. Come on, Don. Are you the Don Mega? I just like watching Wardley's style, man. He just reminds me of a throwback fighter with the speed and the chin. And who wins, Moses or Wardley? I got Wardley. Charlene, he's not a heavyweight, but the fighter I feel had so much potential. Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter is a heavyweight. I think he used to be a cruiserweight because he beat Martin Bacoli. Yeah, Michael Hunter is one of them fighters that it seemed like he had potential, and then I don't know what happened. But looks like he's getting a lot of interviews lately, so I think he might be back soon. Quan says, yeah, AJ will get through that guard eventually. Yeah, that wide guard of Dubois is terrible. I mean, how many rights did Hergovich hit Daniel Dubois with? Imagine if AJ does that. If AJ even lands three of those, man, it's nap time without a pillow. Wilder has made his fortune. He won't care anymore. Yeah, when your life becomes all about ayahuasca and checking your bank account, it's time to move on. Dudes are too big and strong nowadays to take excessive punches. I think even Joe Joyce might have taken too much punishment already. You know, I remember seeing him on an interview a while back where he seemed like he couldn't even formulate a thought, and I was like, is he showing signs of brain damage right now? Because I'd hate to see that. He's a real nice guy, great ambassador for the sport, and you just hate to see somebody take some damage that they could never recover from. You really think Fabio Wardley would beat? Yeah, I do. Yeah, his speed and his chin. I haven't seen Moses take it to the chin yet. If Moses can take his punch, then we're in for an interesting fight. But I'm pretty big on Wardley, man. He's not very big of a guy, but his heart is big. A lot like Evander Holyfield. Wasn't a very big guy, but you know you were in a fight if you fought Holyfield. Wardley's like the UK version of Evander. Bon Scott says, I forget who it was that said something about silk sheets. Pretty true, though. It was Marvin Hagler. Says it's hard to do road work when you're sleeping in silk sheets. I've even heard people say silk pajamas. I think it was sheets, though. Yeah, Marvin Hagler, man. Great, great fighter. Never seen him out of shape. The great fighters, you never see them out of shape, man. Of course, there's some exceptions to the rule, but most of the great fighters you never see out of shape. Quan Big Gun says, I think Zhang broke Joyce's heart. He doesn't try no more. He might have, because when you lose to a guy twice, I think that was what was wrong with AJ after he lost twice to Usyk. You know, he was feeling like, do I have it anymore? Now his mind is back. But I think when you lose to a guy twice, that can do some damage psychologically. And Joyce he can get around it, but the defense is terrible, and he's just got to find a way to drop maybe at least 8 pounds. I think big guy, but there's no reason to come in like 280. I don't think. Fabio is 6'5". He ain't small. He same size as Dubois. Yeah, I don't mean like in terms of height. I mean just like as far as like mass and muscle. He's not a guy you would look at and be intimidated by like a Joshua Dubois or a guy like or Ike Beabucci type. But he's got some good height on him. Hard to believe that a man as big as Zhang ran around Wilder to KO him. That's still one of the funniest KOs I've seen. I was just watching that the other day how Wilder spins around and turns around like, hey, Zhang's waiting like, right here, turn around. Come on, come on, come on. Pal, lay down. Get out of here. Meow Meow. That's an interesting name. Says, how do you imagine the fight between Holyfield and Usyk? Ooh, that's tough. I think Usyk would edge it out just because of the weird style, man. Usyk's a monster for anybody in any era. Tough fight, but I think Usyk would win it by decision, maybe. Even Holyfield in his prime would have a tough time with Usyk. Quan says they're looking to make Zhang versus Bacoli. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier before you came on. Yeah, man. I had done a community poll about that a while back, and yeah, I think Prince Turkey wants to make that happen because they're talking about either China or Africa, Africa, China, however you want to put it. And I know I would want to see that most definitely. But I've been on here about an hour, a little over 30 minutes. I guess I'm about to check out, y'all. Bon Scott says, nah, Jay Roos, don't do my man Holyfield like that. Holyfield would maul him properly, not uh, foot around like Fury and AJ. I don't know, man. I don't know. I like Holyfield a lot, but one of my all-time faves. But I don't know. I won't be mad at you for picking the real deal though. Quan says, peace, Jay Roos. Peace to you, Quan. Peace to Bon Scott. Peace to Charlene. Holyfield's a straight up killer. Yeah, man. Mike Tyson was talking about that. But I'm going to go ahead and get up off here. Shout out to Counterpunch Boxing News. First one to come through, my dude Kurt. Shout out to Andrew Tucker World. Shout out to DT3, the Boone Man. Shout out to Showbiz the Dope. What's going on with you? Shout out to Boxing Wave, Mr. Boxing Today too. Bon Scott says, take care, Jay Roos. Peace out. Four fingers.